Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from Exit Eden, Femmes Fatale, out January 12th on Napalm Records. The album has 12 tracks, 56 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length studio album. They are an European symphonic classical metal group. When you look at the design of this record, or even perhaps before going into the design, you have to look at the origins of the band. The debut album was 100% covers, so maybe there was an expectation for a sophomore to follow in the same pattern. But I think there was also some questions in the minds of fans of what would original material sound like when it comes to Exit Eden. I think this album kind of answers both questions, or at least allows the fans to have a little bit of both worlds, mixing in covers with original songs. Allowing these two to blend really well from start to end makes the album feel more continuous, makes the album feel more fluid, more dynamic, and more engaging. The original material really helps fill in the gaps between the cover songs and makes the whole experience more cohesive. And I think that allows the album itself to feel better, to sound better, to be a better experience for the listener, while getting a little bit of the old DNA of the band still represented on this record, and at the same time perhaps we're seeing the development of a new DNA that will take this band into the future. As far as the sound is concerned, this is definitely a symphonic record through and through, but it's not overly symphonic. It also has a lot of melodic material in it. It has some pop rock, it has some rock in it, and obviously some metal. But when you look at the infusion of these covers, you're always going to get something that comes with that, with those songs and what those songs represented and the original material behind them. So obviously you have to play with that, even though you're converting some of that into this Exit Eden sound, and that obviously going to change the way you perceive some of these songs. But it's very hard to detach the cover from the original, so you always have to be cognizant of that element. Having the symphonic elements kind of be the common ground or the common denominator between the original and the covers creates a sense of commonality between these songs. That allows them to then offer some diversity within the tracks without necessarily making the record feel really broken or really choppy from song to song. The symphonic elements on this record are on point. Clear, not necessarily overwhelming, powerful, cinematic, and really increasing the volume and presence of every single track on the album. Still leaving room for the drums to have an impact, and definitely for the guitars to come through, which is important to have that element there, because some of these covers had solos, some of these covers had a little bit more of a guitar predominance within them, so keeping that guitar sound alive and well throughout the original material allows the covers then to feel better connected with the overall experience. So now you don't just have the symphonic elements that are the common denominator, you have some other elements underneath it that are also helping fill in the gaps and connect the songs. Vocally, they went from a 4-piece to a 3-piece. I honestly don't feel like anything was lost in terms of the quality, in terms of the harmonies, in terms of the melodies, in terms of the overall performance. Super strong record. And let's face the facts, the sound is important, the sound is the canvas. But the brush that's going to paint that canvas, that's going to give life to this album and energy to this album, are the vocalists. Nobody's picking up an Exit Eden record for the sound. Everybody's picking it up because of the vocal performances that are expected to be had on an album like this. And I think if you came for that, or if you had that in the back of your mind as the main idea, you're not going to be disappointed. 3 great performances throughout the record. You also have the track with Marko, former Nightwish, bass player and singer, so there's that caveat there. But overall, the record is super strong vocally, really engaging, really well done in terms of how you use the best out of these vocalists to get these songs to have their own nature, to have their own DNA, to have their own life. And I think some of the covers, if you didn't know they were covers, you would think they were just another song that's part of the original material. That's how well this album sounds, that's how well this album feels, and definitely that's as strong as the vocal performance is from start to bottom. I was magnetized by some of these songs because I couldn't believe what I was listening to. The performance of some of these covers is better in my opinion than the originals. It has more life, it has more energy. Having different singers with different abilities definitely offers that. And then the original material is really strong as well, really showcasing what these singers can do, and that this record, like I said previously, it's definitely a canvas. At least the sound is the canvas, and the vocalists are those brushes that are just creating a magnificent picture. great record. I enjoy the fact that we got a little bit of the old DNA that came a little bit left over from the debut record, and at the same time we're seeing new DNA develop and perhaps opening doors for what this band can do going forward. I honestly don't see them ever completely removing covers from their albums, from their music, because that's where they started. But I can see them using them less and less as they move forward and becoming more of an independent artist with their own picture, with their own images, with their own sound, with their own music, with their own DNA. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I have to start off with the opening track on this record, Femmes Fatale. Great opening track, and it's a track that has a cinematic approach to it as far as the symphonic sound is concerned, becoming the spinal cord of the track, but then vocally has great harmonies, great melodies, just great delivery all around. And when you look at the song, when you look at the lyrics, when you look at the performance, when you look at how it's delivered, this song really encompasses the album. It's all about these three singers, it's all about these femme fatales, if you will, at least as far as vocalists are concerned. And putting this as the opening track, a song like this really sets the bar and sets the tone for what the overall album is going to be like. A track that has a chorus that feels larger than life, both musically and vocally. The verses feeling a little bit more contained, which allows that chorus to feel more explosive as well. And then musically is very textured. It's a very powerful song, really well done as far as the symphonic backdrop is concerned. That blanket that encompasses the whole track, but still infusing enough strength in the drums and the guitars in order for this track to feel to have more metal in it, to have more power in it as well. Very bombastic opening track. Next, as far as my favorite songs are concerned, I have to mention the song Poison, an Alice Cooper cover. This to me is better than the original. Now, you may not agree with me, that's fine, but it almost felt like this was a song that was written for these three ladies. This song was written for them. It was not written for Alice Cooper. They redefined this song. They redefined this song with their vocal performance, with how dynamic it is, with how strong it is, with how textured it is, with how layered it is. But also sound-wise, this song felt better. It felt like it had more meaning. It felt like it had more freedom. The way it sounds, it really lends it to female vocalists. It really lends itself to this femme fatale image, because when you listen to this song and you listen to them singing it and you're thinking about the title of the record, how does this song not fit in this picture? How does this track musically and lyrically not fit into that femme fatale image that we all have from watching movies or reading books? So that is exactly how this song starts to become part of the DNA of the band. They took a song that wasn't theirs, they made it theirs, and it fit perfectly like a glove as far as the overall big picture of the record is concerned. Outstanding cover. One of the best covers on the entire record. Another song that I have on my top 3 tracks for this album is another cover, and that is Alone, a heart cover. This track really kept the original heartbeat, and that was important to me. I felt like that almost dark mood that the original have, that heartbreak. It has a heartbeat and it has a heartbreak in it. And the mood that original track holds, the feeling that you get when you listen to the original song, they kept it here. And it's perhaps a track that showcases a little bit more vulnerability from their end. Because when you think of femme fatales, you think of women that are super strong, not afraid of anything, and nothing can break them. This track kind of removes that a little bit, kind of moves the veil a little bit, and you're able to see behind it. And you see that behind a strong woman, there's still a heart that can be broken. And this track represents that aspect, that it doesn't matter how hard your exterior shell is, your interior, it's still soft and it's still able to be bruised. So this was an interesting track from that point of view, because it also fit well with the overall dynamics of the record. It fit well with the overall idea of the album. It's a great cover. They did a phenomenal job. They kept most of the original material, the mood, alive and well. They just obviously infused their symphonic elements, and obviously their vocal performance changes the dynamics. But at the end of the day, they just change the paint job. The motor of this track is still the same as the original, and I think that's why this track works really well in the context of this album. Outstanding cover, Alone, a heart original. This is it. Exit Eden with Femme Fatale, out January 12th on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.